So China is fighting India at the border, manipulating Nepal, buying out Bangladesh, when its priorities should have been something else, its own people. There is an extremely severe situation in Beijing. I'm not saying this, China is. These are China's words. The reference is to a second coronavirus wave. This time, the epicenter is Beijing, the capital city with a population of 20 million. Let me give you the details. As of this evening, there are at least 106 active cases in the city. We're talking about lakhs of cases the world over. Why should 106 be such a big deal? I'll explain. In Beijing, 27 cases were reported in the last 24 hours, 27 new cases. This is worrying because these people have been linked to a wholesale market visited by more than 45,000 people in the last few days. Do you see why this is a matter of grave concern? Now let's go beyond the numbers and talk about things that China does not want the world to know. Is Beijing becoming the next Wuhan? There's a chilling sense of déjà vu, chaos and cover-up. Allow me to explain. There's an emergency situation in Beijing. All sports and entertainment centers have been closed. Travel has been curtailed. Residential areas have been sealed off. Schools have been closed. The spokesperson for Beijing has called the situation, quote-unquote, extremely severe. So what is Xi Jinping doing? Looking at the border. As a serious war plays out in his capital, the Chinese media says Beijing is in war mode. Provinces as far away as Yunnan have asked people coming in from Beijing to quarantine. Shanghai is isolating those coming in from the capital. This time the virus was detected at a Beijing wholesale food market, at a chopping board used by a seller of imported salmon. The cluster of diagnosis began on Thursday. What did China do? Follow the playbook. Blame the West. Chinese researchers say this virus may have come from overseas.
Could it be possible from any of European countries, or maybe from the United States, or from Russia?
Alternatively, consider this. An infected person carried the virus to the market, contaminated the place, the food there. Why isn't China considering cross-contamination? Because it doesn't suit their line. Remember, China claimed it defeated the virus. And what is the World Health Organization doing? Exactly what it did the last time, cover up for Beijing. On the 13th of June, the WHO said it is following up on the cluster outbreak. On the 15th, Dr. Tedros said he is investigating the origin of the virus.
Last week, China reported a new cluster of cases in Beijing after more than 50 days without a case in that city. More than 100 cases have now been confirmed. The origin and extent of the outbreak are being investigated.
The WHO's emergency director, Mike Ryan, was also present at this press conference. He said that the WHO is expecting the Chinese authorities to publish genetic sequencing of the virus in Beijing. Sure, they will. With the same sincerity with which China destroyed initial samples of Wuhan. Here's something you must know. Every pandemic has over 2 to 3 waves. What's happening in Beijing is, in all probability, the signs of the second wave. The World Health Organization did nothing the first time, and the second time appears no different, or perhaps not. Come to think of it, there is one difference. This time, the WHO does not even feel the need to mask its tilt towards China. Why do I say this? Because amidst all of this, Dr. Tedros is planning to address university students in Beijing. Sure, he does have a lot of time. It's not like we're living through a pandemic. So does all of this remind you of something? I do not want to sound ominous, but this pattern will keep repeating, it seems. China covering up outbreaks and the WHO covering up for China. China's financial hubs were spared during the first outbreak. This time, the cluster is in Beijing. China's political stability depends entirely on its economic situation. In financial hubs, if financial hubs are hit, the government will face the political consequences. Xi Jinping has enough on his plate and under his carpet. It's time to take a break from crafty diplomacy and address the problems at home.